Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. So in this video, we discuss about how to simplify a circuit so that we can calculate the effective resistance, and then we just go through some of the properties of current and potential for series and parallel, and then I just show you how to calculate that one as well. So we're going to focus on the how to simplify the circuit first. So just a reminder on how to calculate the resistor for series and parallel. We have R1 plus R2 plus R3 and so on for series, and for parallel you have to do 1 over 1 over and 1 over. Okay, so this one is just example of resistor in series, and this one is resistance in parallel. The key difference here is that for parallel it actually has a junction over there. Okay, I'm gonna go straight to the example. So we're gonna discuss the questions straight away. I picked some of the questions from tutorial and from your lecture notes, and then I choose the one that is not straightforward but it is common in your exam. So this is example, I think from tutorial. I think question 11 code. Okay, so they give you this kind of circuit. Ada few resistor, nampak macam complicated. It looks complicated, but it is actually pretty straightforward. What I want you guys to do is that I want you guys to redraw the circuit so that you can see much clearly, and and then if you want to solve that one, it will be straightforward. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is that you have to take the positive terminal. Again, this is my method of drawing things and my method of solving things. Obviously, you might have a different methods that you are comfortable with. I'm fine with it as long as you can get the correct answer. So my method here is actually very similar to the method that I show you when we want to connect a circuit. Okay, so you take the positive terminal here, and this one actually goes straight up until a junction. Okay, so what you're gonna do is that you're gonna draw that part. Okay, so normally in examples and commonly when you guys seeing the lecture notes or things, or a simple circuit, normally the power supply you put it down here. So I'm gonna want you to put it down here as well, and then you draw the positive from positive terminal. And then this one still no junction, and then it made a junction over here. Okay, so over here I had a junction, and then draw the junction. Okay, from there it is actually separated into two. One is for 9 ohm down there, so I'm gonna draw that one first. I label it straight away, 9 ohm. And then up there, you can choose this color instead. Okay, up here, it go through 15 ohm. Okay, so saya ulang. From the positive terminal, okay, kamu jalan, ikut je sampai the mid junction. At the junction, tengok dia pecah berapa. In this case, they separated into two, so you have to draw two junction like this lah. Junction yang kita draw tu biasa kita kira T junction. Kamu jangan buat seko-seko pula, sebab kalau junction yang shape lain tu dia susah sikit nak nampak. So 15 ohm tu, and then it made up another junction. Jumpa lagi satu junction dekat sini. Okay, and that junction actually separated into two as well. Pecah lagi dua. So one of it is going through the 8 ohm. Okay, and then the one above there should go through 19 ohm. Okay, and then over here it go through 5 ohm. And then the 19 and between 19 and 5 ohm ni actually dia adalah corner, it's not a junction. So that one you don't have to draw a junction lah. So it will be 19 ohm and 5 ohm. Okay, and then dia keluar sini, and then they meet up at the junction here, and this junction actually connect the 8 ohm and 5 ohm. So we meet up over here. Oops. Okay, so from that particular junction we go straight here, then it meet up with the green one yang 9 ohm tu pula. Okay, and then dia keluar from there, dia jumpa yang 2 ohm. Then only dia keluar, and then they go back to the negative terminal. So every time you want to solve, my suggestion is that you try to draw it in this form. Kenapa? Sebab bagi saya yang ni paling senang nak solve, paling senang nak nampak. Kurangkan kemungkinan kamu salah. You can see clearly mana yang series and mana yang parallel dalam form macam ni. You have to take extra step, but in return you get less time when you try. You can spend less time when you try to solve the questions. So the question want to find the effective resistance, so means you have to find R effective. Okay, now actually if you already draw like this, you can solve it straight away. The first thing that you need to do is that you can combine the 19 and 5 ohm there, and then after that you can combine this one with 8 ohm. That one is parallel to each other. Once you combine that, you can combine this one with this one. Okay, and then that one with that one. Okay, and then the last thing, you can combine the whole thing here with that whole thing there. Okay, so obviously kalau kamu dah biasa buat, you can do it straight away macam tadi saya cakap lah. Kalau kamu tak biasa, that means you have to do it one by one. Tak ada masalah pun. Okay, so this is our first step. Okay, our second step is that I want to combine the 19 and 5 ohm. So combining R is equals to 19 plus 5. Kenapa tambah macam tu? Because 19 and 5 ohm is in series, so it becomes 24 ohm. Okay, once you combine that, now your circuit becomes simpler. So this is the first time that you guys I show you guys. So the first time ni saya akan tunjuk the step by step, and I will show each step lah. So when you combine, yang 19 and 5 actually becomes 1. So you can redraw again to something like this. Okay, this one actually exactly the same circuit as this one. Tertinggal satu. Okay, that one actually combine with this one. Okay, and goes out here. Alright. Okay, so this one is still 15, This one's still 8, and that one's still 9, this one's still 2. Okay, you combine already the top one here there, so it becomes 24. Macam mana kamu nak pilih mana satu yang kamu nak combine? Biasanya saya combine yang daripada paling dalam. I mean, dia paling simple kamu nak combine lah. Tengok mana yang paling simple, you can see clearly. Especially kalau dalam yang step 1 tadi tu punya circuit, memang nampak for me lah, dia nampak jelas. 19 and 5 tu kamu can simply add. Okay, now kalau kamu nak combine the next step, again pilih yang paling senang nak combine. If you want to combine 15 dengan 24, dia tak straightforward, so it doesn't make sense lah. If you want to combine 9 dengan 8 pun tak straightforward, 2 dengan 8 pun tak straightforward. The one that is straightforward now is actually 24 and 8. So if you want to combine that things, that resistor, you can use 1 over R equals to 1 over 24 plus 1 over 8. I think this one you should get 3 plus 1, 4. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. So you just have to press your calculator lah. Okay, if you have 6 over there, so this is my third step. So now the 24 and 8 combined, so you left with 15. So I'm not going to show you this time every single time. So macam saya cakap lah, ni pertama kali saya tunjuk. And kamu pun it doesn't mean that you have to do like this every single time. Kalau kamu rasa perlu, kamu buat. Kalau tak perlu, then it's up to you. If you think that you can solve it straightforward, buat terus, tak ada masalah. Tapi kalau tak confident, buatlah. And then this step actually penting, especially kalau dalam soalan kamu ditanya pasal find the voltage across a specific resistor or current across a specific resistor. And memang saya strongly suggest kamu do it step by step, so that you can always refer back to your working and then find and then tengok properties I and V, and then you can determine for each component. But then again, nanti dekat towards the end of this video saya tunjuk macam mana. Okay, now 15 and 6 tu paling senang nak solve, so I can combine that one, it becomes 21. So R equals to 15 plus 6, which is 21. Okay, I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna bring it to the other side, Okay, now you can solve 15 and 6. You should get 21. Okay, so now you're drawing, so this is drawing number 4. Now becomes memang cara ni nampak ambil masa and nampak macam leceh, tapi dia memang efektif. So for me, I wouldn't mind to spend extra time as long as I could get the answer correctly. Okay, now 21 and 9 is the one that you want to solve lah. Okay, so 1 over 21 plus 1 over 9. Oops, salah tekan. This one is 6.3. Okay, now that you combine 21 and 9, so you are left with only 2 resistors in series. So okay, now you get R effective is equals to 6.3 plus 2. Okay, so if you are using this method, very unlikely kamu tak dapat jawapan. And you reduce the probability of calculating it wrongly. And I strongly suggest you to do it step by step. And kalau kamu rasa step tu simple sangat, you can skip that one. But memang saya suggest kamu untuk buat step by step. And remember, the first thing, bila kamu redraw, for me personally, I would choose from the positive terminal. Every time kamu redraw, tolong check, does it tally ke tak? What I mean by tally is that you can check the numbers of junction. Over here you can count lah berapa junction kat sini. Ada 1, 2, 3, 4 junction. So over here, make sure ada 4 junction as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it makes sense lah. Junction to tally. Numbers of resistor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cukup. Kalau kamu lukis balik tiba-tiba kurang resistor, kamu salah lukis satu. And then try to draw in this form. Macam yang saya lukis kat satu tu. Every time kamu jumpa junction, lukis dia sebagai T junction. Jangan lukis benda lain. Lukis T junction, and then dia jumpa junction lagi, T junction lagi. Okay, student biasa kalau dia nak lukis balik ni, dia akan confuse dekat hujung dia. Means that dia akan confuse dekat sini bila dia jumpa balik tu. Tapi kalau kamu dah biasa buat, dia tak ada masalah. You just have to refer back to the diagram. 5 and 8 ni combine. So tengok balik daripada 5 and daripada 8 tu combine balik. So sorry, ini atas ni 5 and 8 ni combine. So you can see, and then you can redraw. Once kamu dah going through that step, biasanya tak ada masalah. So the first step tu yang crucial, and try to do it correctly. And then with practice, I shouldn't see any problem. Okay, one thing yang student selalu allergic with the question in this chapter is that kalau dia kasih soalan tu yang ada resistor tu, dia bukan kat X axis, bukan kat Y axis, tapi diagonal like that, melintang macam tu. So student macam yang 10 ni lah. Okay, biasanya student dia nampak benda ni, dia jadi allergic. Dia takut pula. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller and put it over there. Okay, so for the circuit below, dah terbalik lah. Below, calculate the effective resistance between the points A and point B. Okay, basically they just want to calculate the effective resistance for this circuit. Okay, number one, the first thing you have to draw, so you have to redraw the circuit. Okay, the first junction, that one's point A. So point A, I draw point A here. It goes straight and it made up a junction. Okay, from that junction separated into two. Okay, kadang-kadang dia separated into three. If separated into three, kamu draw three lah. This time they separated into two. So the first one going through the 20 ohm. Naik atas, go through 20 ohm. And down there, going through 10 ohm. Okay, kalau kamu lukis tu kan, kamu dah biasa lukis, kamu boleh agak lah. Dekat atas ni ada banyak resistor yang kamu tak lukis lagi. Dekat bawah ni tiba-tiba dia potong sini, dia potong sampai habis. So try to draw something yang macam centered sikit, ke kanan sikit lah. Sekejap, saya padam balik, so that you can have enough space to draw up there. Macam tu. Lari pula tengok. Okay, and then daripada junction green tu, dia stop dekat junction tu, and then dia separated into two as well. Dekat sini dia separated into two. Satu dekat sini, kat atas tu. Ada 5 ohm, and then made up another 5 ohm without going through any junction. So selagi tak habis, selagi kamu tak jumpa junction, kamu ikut je jalan tu. 5 ohm as well. Okay, from this junction just now they separated into two kan. So satu tu yang going through 5, lagi satu tu going through 10. And that particular resistor meet up over here. They meet up actually together, all those three. 10 dengan 5 tu. So you can try to draw with something like this. Okay, this is point B. Okay, so again when you try to solve, try to choose the one that is simplest way to solve lah. Cari yang paling senang nak solve. So you can see clearly that 5 and 5 ni paling senang nak solve. Kamu boleh tambah straight away. So step when you try to find, so R is 5 plus 5 equals to 10 ohm. So by right you have to draw again kan. Tapi saya nak jimatkan masa here, I just want to erase this one. Tapi kamu jangan erase sebab bila kamu nak kira voltage and current dekat each component tu, kalau kamu erase and then after that kamu nak kira V dengan I tu, kamu kena lukis balik. So to defeat the purpose, 10 ohm and 10 ohm tu dah combine. So now you can combine this one and this one. It becomes 1 over R is equals to 1 over 10 plus 1 over 10. So you get 2 over 10, so that your R becomes 10 over 2, which is 5. Okay, so saya padam lagi sekali. Kamu jangan buat macam ni. So, sebenarnya saya nak tunjuk the ideas of dia combine tu jadi macam mana sebenarnya. Okay, 5. Okay, so the 5 and 20 you can combine straight away, becomes 25. Once you combine those two, then you can combine the last one. Oops. Okay, and this is the effective resistance of the circuit. Okay, so in exam sometimes the question doesn't ask you to calculate the effective resistance directly, but when you try to find a different value such as voltage and current, you need to use the values of R effective. So in other way, you still have to find the R effective first, then only you can try to solve the question. Okay, for this question again I repeat, the first thing that you try to redraw the circuit into something that you guys familiar. Okay, kalau saya familiar with the one that resistor tu baring dekat x-axis, itu yang biasa saya buat lah. Kalau kamu biasa macam tu, buatlah macam tu. And then kalau ada positif kalau ada power supply, biasanya saya letak dia kat bawah ataupun dekat atas. And then if I draw it like that, I can see clearly whether dia adalah series or parallel with each other. Memang ambil masa sikit, tapi macam saya cakap tadi, saya really spend time, tapi jawapan saya betul, and then so that I can get a full mark, because this is the first step tau. untuk find the R effective. And then kamu ada yang step bawah dia tu, soalan yang anak-anak dia tu, kalau yang first kamu salah, yang bawah tu habislah. Kamu cari dekat voltage across each component pun salah, current pun salah. So you can imagine berapa banyak markah kamu hilang. So do the first step right. Once you redraw, tolong recheck. Macam tadi saya tak recheck yang this one. Once kamu redraw tu, check number of junction tu cukup ke tak, number of resistor tu cukup ke tidak. Macam yang saya cakap sebelum ni lah, calculating the R effective is basically just a first step. And normally the question want you to find things like how much current pass through a certain component, or how much potential difference across a certain component. So to do that, you need to know and you need to remember the properties of current and voltage. Okay, for series, erase this one first. For series, if you have a current flow through one direction, and then as long as the current didn't go through any junction, the values of the current will remain the same. That's why we have here I and I. As long as it doesn't go through any junction, I will remain constant. Okay, the potential will be the opposite to the current. So if that one is equal, that one is plus. V equals to V plus V1 plus V2. Okay, that one for series. For parallel, now the current going through a junction. So you expect the current will split into two parts. So it will be I1 and I2. The values of I1 and I2 depends on the resistance of the at I1 and I2. So it depends on that lah. But the key idea here is that I equals to I1 plus I2. Since current is plus, the voltage is the same. V equals to V1 equals to V2. And then don't forget about the important Ohm's law of V equals to IR. When you want to apply the V equals to IR, make sure you use the correct subscript. Example, if I want to use V1 here, the partner would be I1 and R1. If I want to use V2, it will be I2 and R2. If I want to use the whole circuit, V terminal, it will be equals to I of the circuit and R effective. Okay, student faham, but then when they try to do in exam, biasanya dia terlupa, dia mix up, sebab dia semua nilai tu I tu semua main masuk je. So sebab tu yang ramai salah. Okay, let's look at one of the simple example here. For the circuit below, calculate the effective resistance of the circuit. So they want you to calculate the R effective first, and then they ask you to find the current pass through the 12 resistor here, and then the potential difference across the 4 resistor. Okay, actually, once you calculate the effective resistance, you can skip a few steps and straight away calculate the current across it. But I want to show you a proper step, a step by step, so that you can apply it not only in this question but also across any other question in this chapter. Okay, first thing first, you can redraw this one. You can simplify 4 and 12 ohm to. So R equals to 4 plus 12, which is equals to 16 ohm. So I can redraw this one, and then it becomes 16 ohm and 2 ohm. The power supply is 8 volt. Okay, now you can combine the 16 and 2 resistor. So you can use 1 over R effective is equals to 1 over 16 plus 1 over 2. Okay, here you should get 1.78 ohm. Okay, 1.78 ohm. The next question, they want to find the current that passes through the 12 ohm resistor. Obviously, you already know that this one is the V across the first one is 8. The V across this one is also 8. Okay. And you know that the combination of these two is actually 16. So you can find the current that passed through here straight away. Okay. But I just want to show you important concept. So that one is obviously the better way to solve. But I just want to show you the concept. Concept here, the I will flow in this direction. This is the I of the circuit. Okay. When it meet a junction here, the I will separate or split into two. It will be I1 and I2. Okay. Let's say if I want to find my I1 alternative to the previous method that I talked about, you can use I minus I2, which is equals to I1. So I can write the equation I is actually equals to I1 plus I2, because we are using the properties of a current when it meets a junction. They split into two. Okay. If I want to find my I1, I can use I minus I2. I can find my I using V equals to I R. If I want to find I yang solid, tak ada subscript untuk circuit, R dia mesti R effective. V dia mesti V terminal. So when I substitute my V and R, which is equals to 8, equals to I and R effective is 1.78. I can find my I, which turns out to be 4.49. Maybe I can write 4.49 ampere. And then I can find my I2 using V2 equals to I2 and R2. Okay. My V2 is still 8 because this one is parallel. Everything is the same. V2 is the same with the terminal voltage. I2 is the thing that I want to find. R2 is equals to 2. So I2 becomes 4 ampere. I can substitute back inside the equation of I1 equals to I minus I2, which is equals to 4.49 minus 4. I1 equals to 0.49 ampere. Okay. So if I want to redraw the junction there, I want to redraw it a little bit bigger. It will look something like this. I coming in is 4.49 ampere. Going downwards here would be 4 ampere. And going upward there would be 0.49 ampere. So the total of 4 and 0.49 would be equals to the total current in the circuit. So this is a very important concept. When the current meet a junction, the value will split up. Okay, how much value split up, it depends on the resistor on that particular junction yang jalan dia tu lah. So if you have higher resistor, you expect lesser current. So kat atas ni you have 16 ohm. So memang kamu expect atas tu kecil daripada yang bawah. Okay, so if you want to find the current that pass through the 12 ohm resistor, it will be 0.49. So that one is equals to I across the 4 and I across the 12. I across, then I have to write pass through. Therefore, I pass okay, why it is 0.49? As long as it doesn't make any junction, so the current will remain the same. So I1 tu adalah I yang go through 4 dengan 12 tu. It's basically the same I. Okay, the last question, they want to find the potential difference across the 4 ohm resistor. So still has the same current. Okay, which one is this? Okay, blank. So I can redraw the part of 4 ohms too. So the current that passed through there is 0.49. And this one we have 4 ohm. So I have my V. I can find my V using V equals to IR. So I is 0.49. R there is 4. I get 1.96 volt. Okay. So this one to answer the question C. Okay, I think that's another question where they want to find the power, but that one we discuss later lah, because we haven't go through the power punya subtopic. Anyway, remember for this one, the first thing that you need to find is the R effective. How do you want to find R effective? You might have to redraw the circuit. You might have to do one by one step. And then once you found the R effective, you can relate with the I of the circuit, I current for the circuit lah. If you want to find using, you can find that one using V equals to IR. Make sure you use V terminal equals to I equals R. Where R is R effective. And then once you find the current, then you can always look back at your circuit. Kalau dia ada jumpa junction, dia akan speed up. Kalau dia tak ada jumpa junction, dia akan remain the same. Okay, I think that's all for this video. Okay, the next one obviously will be about the next subtopic lah. Okay, thank you everyone.